What's up, welcome back to Nostalgia. Dave here with a review of J Hus's third album, Beautiful and Brutal Yard. Yes, J Hus is finally back. It's been 3 years since his last album, Big Conspiracy, came out in 2020, pre-pandemic at that. And obviously, I think anyone who's been in the know about J Hus has been a big fan of his for a few years at this point. I think one of the more unique and singular artists in the British hip-hop scene. I've certainly been a fan for some time. I think what's always stood out about J Hus is really kind of like the whole story about him, but the music first and foremost has been kind of unique. He's largely credited with kind of developing a new subgenre with Afro swing, kind of a Afro beats meets grime meets dancehall type approach to British hip hop. You know it when you hear it type thing. And, on top of that, kind of having this steady come up, releasing a really acclaimed debut album, Common Sense, back in 2017, a record I really love. And then going from that to kind of quickly finding himself behind bars. And when we found out that he was no longer in jail, was because none other than Drizzy Drake himself brought him out in 2019 at his show at the O2 Arena in England. And that, I think, it was like a triumphant, kind of iconic moment in recent UK hip hop history, and obviously it's an awesome shout out or a cosign from Drake, but even more so, just it's a really I think really nice and warm gesture from someone as big as Drake, obviously, and Big Conspiracy comes out a few months after that, and then J Hus kind of goes away. At this point, he's a bit of a cult figure in the sense that he hasn't toured since 2017. He hasn't released music in almost 3.5 years, beyond a feature here and there. And I mean, just think about how much time that's been. Central C's entire career has happened in between J Hus albums. And we know how big Central C is and how hot he is right now. Check out my review about his project he just dropped with Dave, which is hot as hell and great. But yeah, J Hus is finally back. The last album got a Brit Award nomination for Album of the Year in 2021. People care about J Hus, and now we got him back. And I hope we don't have to wait 3 more years again, because he's just a really engaging artist. The genre blend still really stands out. And personally, I think this is the kind of music Stormzy thought he was making on his last album last year, if we're going to keep it in the UK. I thought Stormzy lost his way a little bit on that last record in terms of the sound. But J Hus is just so confident, kind of moving within this lane. And this is a lane that kind of moves within itself as well, right? And in a sense, this third album, Beautiful and Brutal Yard, it's long, 19 songs, 63 minutes. We could have cut some of this down for sure, but I think that breadth also gives you a lot of room to show you the different sides of J Hus, which has kind of been apparent ever since that first album, especially. But yeah, I definitely like this a lot. There's a lot to revisit on this album, and more than anything, I'm just happy J Hus is back. I think we should really start with the first single, Who Told You, featuring Drake. That's a song where obviously Drake giving J Hus a feature, great gesture, love it. Drake loves to be that chameleon, right? We know this. This is kind of a dancehall moving song. And I think in general, there's a lot of rhythms on this album from J Hus. I don't love the song with Drake personally. It's already taking off as any song with Drake would do, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it sounds fine and all, and Drake can do a pretty good job matching this kind of vibe, but it doesn't completely grab me. But it seems to be grabbing a lot of people. I really like track 2, Massacre. I think that one's just really hard. I think just kind of going through this track list here, one of the other singles, It's Crazy. Man, the beat on that, super high tempo. I think that one goes really hard. I love the last song, Playing Chess. I love Come Gully Bun featuring Boss Belly. Lyrically, that's really interesting to kind of get the Gambian immigrant experience and immigrant point of view on English life thrown in there, kind of similar to how like Dave has recently like brought in like the views of his parents into his music. I don't know. I thought that was like a nice like specific like type of message to get across in his song. Um, Obviously we know in J Hus's sound there's a bit of dancehall. You have Pop Can on here on Killy. I think that one actually goes really hard, a harder song than I expected. That was really fun. I think Problem Fixer is probably like a quintessential like this is what an Afro swing song sounds like from J Hus. I think that one's great, really hard. My Baby is a great example of another side of J Hus. That's a love jam, and like not only is it a love jam, but like Hus is like can be a bit corny, be a bit cringy, be a bit immature with his lyrics when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I think that's just part of the package. That's part of the appeal. Is that this is a guy who's himself, no matter what, you know. Um, Cream featuring CB also stands out because that is just a straight up UK drill joint. That shit is gloomy and ominous and menacing. You know the beat. And J Hus can go really hard when he wants to. Again, that's what's just so fun about him as an artist, is that he can do all these different kinds of things. Also, we have Nice Body featuring Georgia Smith, a song that's long been teased by Georgia and J Hus and his longtime producer J5. Like, really nice combo. You know, obviously we know Georgia makes almost every song she gets on better. And we know there's another Georgia album coming out in a few months. Very excited about that. Big fan of her in general. Really nice. You know, I like that one a lot. Yeah, I think like there's a lot that warrants a second listen on here, to be honest. And because it's all different kinds of music within this larger like Afro swing, you know, grime umbrella, I think he's just a really impressive and just interesting artist. And like he's doing so much. And I think that's what's so cool about UK hip hop these days, is that like everyone who's at the top, they're all like kind of different, doing different stuff, right? Like Stormzy, J Hus, Heady One, Central C, Dave, Skepta. They all sound different from each other. They're all doing different kinds of stuff. You know, it's a very innovative place, very innovative music scene. It's not just UK drill music. There's a lot of stuff going on over there. Artie, shout out him, shout out H. Like there's a lot, AJ Tracy. There's a lot of different sounds over there, and I think a lot of unique voices. And J Hus, I'm just happy he's back. That he's not like fading away to like, you know, his. I think he has an I don't want to say unhealthy, but like uneasy relationship with fame and being a public figure. It seems so. Hopefully, he's able to manage that, because I think we'd love to hear him stick around, because when he does speak, we like to listen. But let me know, how did you feel about J Hus's third album, Beautiful and Brutal Yard? Let me know what you thought about it. And for more hip hop reviews, more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.